Hey Jamal, thanks for joining us. How are you?
No, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you? How's things going?
Yeah, good. So you are currently playing for Enrique Soler
Yep, that's the
in
one.
Spain.
Yep, indeed.
In Spain.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know you're in quarantine at the moment with everything that's going on. But
Yeah.
before then, how was everything going? What was the latest?
Things were going really well, actually. I moved out there in August,
Hmm.
and how it works in Spain is season normally starts like maybe late September.
Yeah.
Like a lot of places like Germany last year was it was a lot earlier. So it was a little bit different, getting into season, teams are already starting in different places in the world. So it was nice to have a bit longer, preparation in the summer for myself, and then,
Hmm.
flying out there. And I got the opportunity to practice every day with the Leb Gold team, which is a second league,
Yeah.
the league below the ACB. So I would practice there twice a day with them, and then I'd go to my team in the evening. But we started off the year really, really well. I think we won 15 games or 14 games straight, and then we dropped one we shouldn't have. And then just before everything started just now with the virus, we were 21-1 or 20-1. So going into the playoffs, I think we're unbeaten, maybe 7 or 8 games. So it
Hmm.
was going into the playoffs, we were up 3-0 straight away. In the playoffs was really nice, good feeling, averaging about 15 points, 7 or 8 rebounds. So it was a nice. I was in a good groove, shooting really well from the field
Yeah.
and everything. So it was a nice. It's a nice environment to be in, especially when you're winning.
Yeah.
Everyone's moving the ball and everything. So it's definitely a big difference to anything I've played before.
Yeah.
Where everyone's in it, for everyone, not just themselves.
Yeah.
Moving the ball, everyone's getting good shots. So it was, it was really, really fun. Really fun.
So tell us, just go from the beginning, really. So this
Mhm.
obviously your journey. So go right back to when you very first sort of walked in through the doors and go from
Mhm.
there.
So I think I want to say 9 or 10, maybe.
Mm.
I think maybe 10 or 11 when I really first came to the ball hall. Because for those of you, obviously, you guys know, I have older brother Rabba and then two older cousins, Rafik and Samir. So I always used to come and watch them.
Yeah.
Obviously, my uncle's doing the table and everything. My whole family's there, and I'm like, this is kind of cool, it's a different sport. I'm used to rugby and football and athletics. I tried this one time, so I eventually started, and then it was a love that I'd never found before. I'd never felt this type of, like you get the ball, and if you have it, you can do whatever you want with it. Of
Mm.
course, you meant to pass it, but it was a completely different vibe. And then, obviously, starting up, I kind of got into it a little bit quicker than I anticipated. And then, out of nowhere, Cheshire Trials came up. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, let me try for those. That went really well. Went to the Cheshire tournament, played well, and then came back. And the was it Chester Jets? I think it
Chester
was
Jets
Chester
at the
Jets at the
time. Yeah.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that was over in Ellesmere Port.
Yeah.
So we went over there, and the coach was like, "Yeah, we're really interested." At that time, I'd come back from Algeria that summer, and I think I went, and I think I was about 5'7", 5'8", and I came back at 6'3",
Wow.
and I'm 14 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What the heck is just?" I didn't think anything of it. My
Yeah.
mom comes back, she's like, "You've grown so much." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So eventually, I went over there, and things started to develop and get a bit better, take it a bit more seriously, and then. I made the Northwest team 2 years later
Hmm.
when I was 15. So I went started at 13, got there at 15, and then out of nowhere, somehow I got selected to represent, or not represent at the time. It was to go to the camp, the under 16 England camp down in Bristol,
Yeah.
with the likes of I don't know if you remember, like Jack Griffith, Cam Mackay,
Yeah.
these guys. So I was like, this is whoa, what the heck? So that happened, and then once you get your foot in the door, it makes it a little bit easier for everything else.
Yeah.
You get your name out there, and then eventually, when I was 18, so between 15 and 18, I stayed with Cheshire Jets. They turned to,
Hmm.
went through their Northwest program, won two like 2 championships with the Northwest team, which was really cool. And then eventually, when I got to 18, I made the under-18s England team.
Yeah.
And I got right just before they got cut. They started making the final cuts just before they went to the European Championships. It was me and Josh McSwiggan. So we were in the group of 14. I got cut as the 14th. Josh McSwiggan got cut as the 13th. And they went to the European Championships. I look back at it and, you know, everything happens for a reason, but it's just ironic. We both grew up in Warrington and we ended up on the national team together, which was, I look back at the stories and just, you know, we laugh over it.
Yeah.
And then from when I finished college at Priestley, after 2 years, that year was the under-19s England team, which it was part of the ACE program. So we got an opportunity to go to, at the time it was Sweden and Denmark for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, we got to experience the culture there and everything, and we played against, you know, some junior teams there, some academies and stuff, which was an unbelievable experience. And then once that year had finished, I thought, you know what, let me see what's going on. And a friend of mine said, hey, I can help you out, go to Italy. So I signed a contract to play in Italy for a year.
Yeah.
And then from there, I came back, got injured, and I went to university in London. So I thought, you know what, I'll just take this year to relax, you know, make sure my body's right. And then out of nowhere, Josh McSwiggan sent me a message, and he's like, hey, Jamal, you trying to go to America? And I was like, I'm not going to say no. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we ended up talking to a few different people through different universities, and 4 or 5 offers later, I accepted one from a school called the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. So I ended up flying out there in December due to like a little bit of paperwork stuff. So I came maybe like 10 games late. And then basically...
You had to sit the season out, didn't you? Did you have to sit the season out?
It was the first... So from August to December, I couldn't go because I'd missed the deadline. So basically, I just had to stay in Warrington. So I ended up getting a job. This is something like people just doesn't know about this, but I ended up getting a job at Marks and Spencer's warehouse just down here at Birchwood Park.
Yeah.
I ended up going there, working for 6 months, just saving, so I could go to America with some money in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then eventually got everything over there, flew out there, and then it was crazy because in America, like a lot of universities, everything is open for 24 hours. Like everything's open. The gym, the basketball, everything's open, which some colleges it's not, but so I arrive and, you know, put my stuff in my room. They're like, do you want to go work out? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? I just got here, but okay. And I see the whole team in the gym working out. Coach isn't there. And I was like, this is what I've been like waiting for my whole life. Yeah, you know, like they're playing, you know, the loud music and everything, and they're all there and working out. And I'm just like, this is so cool. And then eventually the next day we started practice straight away. And then as soon as practice started, it was like, okay, this is a reality now. Like, this is what it's going to be like. 2.5 hour practices, 3 hour practices, straight conditioning. And I think it was that first day when I really got into practice. You know, these guys are trying to dunk on me.
Yeah.
These guys are, you know, the same height as me, but they weigh 15, 20 kilos more. They're more built, more athletic. They can run faster. They can shoot. They can dribble. So you really have to figure out, you're like, okay, well, what can I bring to this team? Like, the coach expects something from you. How can you produce that? How can you provide that in that environment that you're in? I think that was the really difficult part at the beginning is like, okay, I'm a tall white guy. I can shoot. Okay. Well, if they can't defend me past the 3-point line, okay, I'm just going to shoot from a bit further back. Or if they're going to, you know, rebound over me, okay, I have to box out earlier. Or maybe I have to just get tips so my teammate can get a rebound. And it was noticing those little things that I kind of took with and just ran with. Okay, if I can do this, I'm just going to have to do this really well, do these 2 or 3 things really well, and that's the only way I'm going to play. And then that year was a really difficult one. We got to a conference tournament championship game and we lost in the last minute, which was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. And then the year after that, we ended up going to we won a conference championship, and then we went to the national tournament, which was incredible. We had 2 years in a row. We made history by winning a conference championship, and that was probably the highlight of the whole time was, you know, being able to, we cut down the nets in the other team's gym, you know, celebrating in front of their crowd, our crowd there, going, oh, it was absolutely unbelievable, unbelievable. But you look back at it and, there's so much that you can take from it.
Yeah.
I was 20 when I first went there. I was older than everyone else because that was my second year technically, because the NAI took a year away from me for playing in London. And to be 20 years old, maybe 1 or 2 years a bit more mature than some of the other players, you're able to see your life a bit differently. You have to manage money better. You have to manage your diet. You have to manage what times you're waking up, because we have 6 a.m.s. A preseason coach would call it Hell Week, and it would be for 2 weeks straight. Our phone would have to be on loud, and whenever we get text, it could be at 4 a.m., it could be at 5 p.m., it could be at midnight, it could be at 1 a.m., and we'd have 10 minutes to get from where we were at that moment to the gym, or he'd say meet us at the field, and we'd have to get there. If we were late, he's like, okay, there's a punishment waiting for whoever's late. And I remember one time, one teammate was late. His name was Chuck, and he comes late, and we're all like, no, we're going to have to run. And he's like, no, you guys wait there. And he made us wait there whilst Chuck is with a medicine ball, backboard taps, then sprints, backboard taps, slide. And we were just like, okay, fellas, no one ever be late ever again, please. I'm not doing this for anyone. If we end up doing this for anyone, we're going to have issues. So we did that, and it was, 6 a.m. in the weight room, or 4 p.m. on the court, and we'd just do sprints for 2 hours, or it would be 2 a.m. in the morning on the field, and we'd have sprints around at the track and stuff. And it was at that point, it was like, this is so real. You have to take this opportunity with both hands, and it makes or breaks players.
Literally, I bet it brought you on though, leaps and bounds. I bet.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Your basketball
definitely.
Just shot up.
Definitely, and I realized things like the 3-point line in America in college is the old 3-point line in Europe.
Yeah.
So the European 3-point line now is closer to the NBA one. So I get there and it's like, okay, well, I can shoot a bit further back. Okay, if I keep working on it, it's going to make it so much better. It's going to be easier for me in a game.
Yeah.
And you just realize so many different things, and you have to mature. I don't know how to explain it. You have to, and a lot of players that have been over there, like Josh McSwiggan will tell you, it was the same for him.
Yeah.
And you mature quickly, and you develop a mindset where whatever happens, it's happening. You either make a decision in that moment, or you leave it and it's going to get worse. You make a decision and you move on with it. Practicing twice a day, every single day is tough, or having one practicing that lasts for 4 hours because it's, one of the best teams in the league, and you have to scout them, when you have a scout team come out and run their plays and stuff. So talk about professional basketball without getting paid. College basketball is word for word is exactly like that. So being able to experience that, from the ages of 20 to 22, 23 was such a blessing. And I look back at it now, and it's a blessing being able to go into a professional environment and take those, those lessons and the things I've learned, and be able to implement them, not just for myself, but for my teammates. And they ask me, well, why did you tell me to come up from the corner to the high post? Okay, well, if you set a screen on this, and this, it makes it a bit easier for a certain situation to happen. And they're like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And to you at the time, it's something so small, but for other people, it's like, they call it like nuggets. Like it's a golden nugget. They're like, oh my God, and they'll take it and they'll run with it, and they try and use it in everything they do, or whether it's dribbling or shooting technique. So the fact that I learned so much over there has definitely helped me with regards to where I am now, or the past year, so to speak.
So you graduate, and then you go from there. Do you come home for a brief moment and then go to Germany, or how does that go about?
I literally I came back in July. I had to be in Germany for the 1st of July.
Right.
30th of July, I think it was. So I literally flew back on the 28th. I think I had a late flight. It came in really late. And I got the train back, or parents picked me up, I can't remember. And then I spent literally less than 24 hours, and then I had a really late flight the next day. So it was literally maybe like 20 hours at home, get my stuff out, put my stuff back in, and then jump straight on a flight straight to Germany.
Yeah.
And then basically I touched down in Germany, and then we basically started preseason that next day. And it was a different vibe, because some players that have played in Germany kind of know it. Like, they're a bit more laid back, a bit more reserved than obviously compared to Americans. Americans are very, not every American, but they're very loud and outspoken. So the environment in the gym is a little bit different. And I went from 2 practices a day, or practice every day for the past 3 years, to practicing 3 times a week. And I was like, whoa, this is so different. But I look back at it and it makes sense because you're a professional.
Yeah.
And obviously they're paying you, it's your job. Yeah. So they're paying you because you do it well. So you don't necessarily need to do it every single day. It's a habit. We're creatures of habit. So the fact that we're able to get paid and do it, we don't necessarily need to do it every single day. Which was a bit of an adjustment. I still found myself in a weight room or a gym every single day, working out and doing something. And I coached at the side, learning German, speaking with the kids in German, which is really cool. Having to go from using a car to a bike in the dead of winter wasn't fun, I'll be honest. Cycling in snow, sleet, hail, rain, minus.
Germany as well.
Yeah, like a legitimate winter. So it was a real culture shock at the time, and I didn't necessarily have to cook every day. I got tickets given to me and vouchers given to like a partner restaurant, which was really nice. It was a nice addition to my contract, going there, eating really good food every day with some teammates and whatever. So that was really cool. And then when it came to basketball, it was a difficult year to adjust. Like some of the players, just the style of basketball in Germany was just so different to where I've been and where I'm used to. And, expecting certain coaches to coach a certain way and they don't. So it's just, I can't say it was a bad experience because I've learned so much from it and I've been able to implement it this year and where I played now. So it was definitely it was a learning curve. Figure out who I am as a player at the professional level compared to how I was in college. Be able to implement that every single day whilst I'm training in the off season and stuff. So, but yeah, unfortunately in the January of last year, I got injured. So I ended up sitting out, the rest of the year. I basically just did physio for 4 months and recovery for 4 months. And then I actually flew back like at the very beginning of April.
Yeah.
So the season kind of got cut short just like this year, but I can't complain. It was an amazing year. That's for sure. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. I got to experience, a whole lot of like the northern Germany, northwest Germany. I think we're 2 hours away from Amsterdam, which was kind of cool. We got to go on holiday there and stuff. So, but it was it was definitely an experience. You learn about yourself a lot more because something a lot of players don't tell you is that the professional life is so boring. It's super boring. It's if you don't live in a house with your teammates, even if you do, it's not like you all want to be spending time with each other every day. You know, as much as we're friends and teammates, I like my own, everyone likes their own space at some point.
Yeah.
So it was one of those where, we all see each other, but what you're doing behind closed doors, you can only watch a certain amount of Game of Thrones or Power or, and it just got to a point where it was just like, I'm just going to go on a bike ride. Let me just enjoy shopping. Let me go become a cook or something, which is where I finally found out what passion is. And, that's like obviously trying to cook certain things and watching different documentaries, learning languages and stuff. And that was where I really picked up German.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing experience, definitely.
Did you go from there to Spain, or was the Algeria experience in between?
So I actually found out about Algeria in college.
Right.
I kept emailing them maybe from the day I arrived in America, maybe for 2 years straight, every week I would send an email. Like, hey, my name's Mel Tarawi, blah, 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 playing in America. I want to play for my Algerian national team. And they didn't respond for about a year and a half. And I think they just got sick of me sending so many emails. So eventually, when the season finished, I had 1 more month of rehab and workouts and stuff. And then in the May, I flew out to Algiers, which is the capital, and I met the team, and we had a camp from the Friday till the Monday. A team camp, which was 16 players originally, and then 2 stayed in. 18 players and 2 stayed, and we took 16 with us. So we had a 4-day camp in Algiers, and then on the Monday we we went to Turkey, to Istanbul, and we had like some not playing games, but it was just like practice games. So we played 2 games against Morocco, 1 game against the under-22 Turkish national team, and then 1 game against Istanbul Basket, which was incredible. Absolutely, probably the best experience of my life basketball-wise. Being in a 5-star hotel, the basketball gym's connected to the hotel. They have their own fitness facilities. They have a sauna, steam room, a spa, 5-star food. I was just like, we're staying here. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, no, you having me on? They're like, no, we're staying here. So it was to be able to experience that at a professional level was absolutely incredible. Representing my country. I get to keep the jerseys I put on my, like I actually got to put on and stuff. That was really, really incredible.
Yeah.
It's not often you see or you get the opportunity to represent your country. And I think that was like, as of like till this point, has probably been the highlight of my short career, so to speak. Which was really, really cool. I still, some of those guys I still talk to now, like they're some of my closest friends. So
yeah,
it's it was an amazing experience, absolutely amazing.
I can imagine. And then Spain. So when did you then obviously sign up with?
So I eventually, after the national team, I stayed in Algeria for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I went to go see some of my family, which I'd not seen in I think about 11 or 12 years.
Yeah.
So I did my pre-season there, like I guess pre-season.
Yeah.
And then my agent said, "Hey, we've got a team for you in Melilla, which, if like so you guys may not know, it's a city in Morocco, but it's Spanish land. Right. So it's like it's just a city of Spain in another country, which is really cool. I was like, okay, we'll see how that goes. And then terms were really good, so I said, okay, perfect. We signed a contract, and then about 3 weeks before I had to be there, I flew back from Algeria and then spent 3 weeks at home, did some workouts, working, and then I flew right there.
Yeah.
And then basically from August till December was 3 practices a day, 6 days a week. And then on the other day was it was just maybe a shoot around or just a gym session or something. So
yeah,
probably the most intense 5 months of my life compared to going back to college. Workouts before practice in the gym, and then we have prehab before practice. Then we have a practice where it's just sprints, or we're just doing fast break stuff, and then it's a breakdown into zone sets, and then after we have to do a stretching session, and then we'll come back in the afternoon, and then we'll have a full team practice. So we'll work 5-on-5 full court, and then once I finish that, I have to rush straight to my team because I practiced with the first team and my team. So it was absolutely insane. And then obviously when we get Christmas off, it's probably the best 10-day holiday I think I've ever had in my life. It was just maybe, I think in those 10 days, maybe 3 or 4 of those days, I'd just get some shots up, but it was just perfect to be able to come back, relax, have some like their mum and dad's home cooked food, and just take some time off. And then we went back in the January, and we were unbeaten from January onwards, which was really cool, until obviously the coronavirus, and everything started to happen. But it was, Spain's a different environment, completely different. Everyone's super laid back. They enjoy that, like, oh, let's have a coffee. And I'm like, it's 10 minutes and we got practice. Don't worry, it's okay. We'll have a coffee. Okay, no problem. We'll go later.
That's the Spanish.
So, yeah.
So tell us, so for the guys that are watching now that are, say, probably playing on a Saturday in Warrington or even the Friday leagues, the guys that are just starting out that want to progress into sort of professional ball, what advice would you give them? Or even, if you could start over, what would you do differently?
I think the main thing for me, I've had 3 ankle and foot like injuries. Some of them, like 2 of them were serious, 1 wasn't so serious, and then 1 last year. And so that I didn't really take advantage of when I was young was like the videos online on YouTube. Okay, how to take care of my body properly as an athlete. And I think if I was younger and I really focused on that, and this thing's more so on the strength and conditioning side. If you have a gym membership, or you even at home, like throughout this virus and stuff, we're still getting workouts in at home. You see it all over social media. I think if I would have taken advantage of that a lot more when I was younger and really focused on that and focused on my body, I think I would have been at high level now. And I'd maybe be more stronger. I'd maybe be able to jump higher, maybe able to run faster. I'd definitely say something as well would be listening to your coaches way more and learning why are they thinking like that? Okay, why would they say that in this situation? Studying not just players but coaches as well, why coaches do certain things. So I definitely think those 3 things for me were absolutely massive. And then of course the obvious one is just stay in the gym. I think one thing we all not all of us, but a lot of us forget about is quality is better than quantity. Like, don't just shoot 1,000 shots. Shoot one shot the same way every time, whether that's 250 times, 100 times, whatever you can get in the time that you've got. But I definitely say quality is way better than quantity. And really focus on your body, listen to your peers, and really just be a student of the game. Develop the IQ side of the game, definitely.
Good. So in terms of the England basketball now, obviously when we were younger, National League was a bit more, or like a lot less, few and far between when it comes to teams and stuff like that. What do you think of the state of England basketball now? How do you think it's developed over the years?
I think it's got a million times better, if you ask me. Obviously, you just said now, like, the amount of teams that there were when we were young. Like, I had to go all the way over to Ellesmere Port. I couldn't really come to Warrington at the time because there wasn't a team.
No.
I could have gone to Amici, to Manchester Magic, but you have like 500 players at two age groups. What do you do with that? I think now there's such a broad range of teams, leagues, opportunities for the EABL, the ABL, even local leagues have got better. I definitely think it's got so much potential. Like, British basketball is, like, in my opinion, I think it's getting better. It's still at a lower level. There's things we can do as a community to make it better. But I think it's slowly getting better with the likes of social media and players in general. They're getting out of the country more. They're going to America. There's players like Cavell, played on the England team together, and Josh McSwiggan, we all played together, that went and played Division 1 basketball and ended up playing in the Summer League and the NBA. That's a testament to how good British basketball is. But we're at a point right now where players just don't want to come back. And I think right now it's important we just stick together. Obviously, the UK leaving Europe is, now is a bit more of an incentive. We're kind of limited to a certain amount of countries we can go to. And I think now that this is happening, it's a good opportunity. Okay, we come back, and there is really good British talent. We've got the likes of Jordan and Patrick Whelan, brothers that came to the ball when we were young. That's just two examples. Myself, Josh McSwiggan, even Danny Miller, all of these guys, we all grew up together. And I really feel like there's so much potential there. We just need to come together a bit more. And we need to invest in ourselves and the environment that we used to be in terms of the ball hall, maybe the Amici and Cheshire, and give back to it a little bit more and encourage players to aspire, not just to go to the States, but if an opportunity comes to maybe play in a BBL or NBL Division 1, take it, run with it. Because the only way this country is going to get better is when we all come together and we all, provide for the one cause, which is the BBL, which is the British system. Taking things from here, there, and everywhere. But I think we're in a good position at the moment to really, like, we're here, but we could be all the way up there, competing with different countries, and the GB team beat Germany a couple months back. Perfect example. So there's definitely a lot of potential. Definitely.
Jamal, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Do really appreciate it.
Likewise.